the first television show I produced was an all-women's wrestling show. So it was like everything kind of comes together. The first acting job I did was a wrestling show, you know? So
right?
To me,
it's funny how it all
it needs
pieces
to
together.
You have to, like, every piece of your story creates you, and I'm so proud of what I built here and the fans that have stood by me, who go to medical conferences just to like hear my speeches and like wearing wrestling
amazing,
merch.
really?
Yeah, like,
I suppose it actually doesn't surprise me because I do think we have the most amazing fans in the world, and if they identify with you and relate to you, I mean, they're your tribe for life.
Genuinely.
Yes.
And it you know, I feel like I was built to take on their stories. And so when I do signings and they come up to me and they tell me their mental health journey, sometimes it's the first time they're saying it out loud.
Wow.
And I feel like I was built in this world to do that, to like absorb it and be like, yes, take it off your shoulders, give it to me. And it is the most meaningful thing I could ever do in this world. And like if I was done tomorrow, I'd be like, yep, I did it, because that is this connection that it felt like that was my purpose in the world, was to help people feel less alone. But I hope they know that in like my hard times, they have helped me feel less alone, because I feel weird and alone and isolated and, you know, hopeless sometimes. And then you see these people who you've affected and who root for you still.
In every way.
Yeah. And it really
to the point where
heals you.
You came back.
Yeah.
And you, by the way, I didn't miss a beat.
Thank you.
Like, amazing. And you cut this promo.
Oh my God.
And you talked a little bit about your journey.
Yeah.
And the crowd actually started chanting therapy.
In what world?
Yeah, only WWE.
That was like a genuine reaction of like being stunned. I had heard like one person started chanting it, and then a few people around him started chanting therapy. And I thought it was so funny. And one of the things about getting more like performance practice is I'm like very comfortable. I think I've always been pretty comfortable on the mic because I can just turn into a different person. But now I'm especially just like kind of in the moment more, I think, than ever. Like, what's my, next line? And so I heard it and I was like, I have to respond to this. And was joking, like these three guys were chanting therapy. And then everyone started doing it and my mind exploded. Because I think, if you have like a sort of a judgmental idea of what you think like wrestling crowds could be, you don't think they're like in touch with their emotions and so open-minded and empathetic like that to chant for therapy. And it was just this like my worlds came together. And like now, like I just did a signing and people had like therapy is cool merch and like yeah, and like they made it themselves. And I've had so many people from that moment tell me that they decided to start therapy because of that segment. And I was just like, what do we do, you guys? Like, this is the coolest thing in the world to like combine these two things that mean everything to me. But I hope those fans know that like they are the reason I came back. I never do. It took me a really long time to be comfortable doing signings because once I retired, I was like, I'm going to be behind the camera forever now. Like I was just like attention was like not
what you wanted.
No, like
at
really,
that time.
No, I mean it's a little hard for me still. Like it messes with my anxiety where I have to like kind of like have a process of like a cool down and like not look at like the internet and it's just like it's just like the way I'm wired now. But I know how to work it. So signings were something I was doing for a long time. And I did one signing maybe like a year or something ago and I was like, I'll be there for 2 hours. 7 hours. 7. Because I was like, I'm going to take everyone who shows up. Yeah.
There must have been a lot of people.
Wow. It was hundreds and hundreds of people. And I was like, it's been 10 years, you guys. Like you are still willing to wait in like a 7-hour line for me. And it just like touched me so deeply. And then I started doing signings for the comic book that we had put out. And it was the same thing in California and Chicago and New York. And I was just like, shit. Like there's like, I felt like I was, I could give something to this group of people who had stuck by me for so long. So that's when the wheels started like, okay, maybe
Do you feel like this group of fans are a part of your community?
Yes, 100%. I mean, even like some in particular, like I know their names, I know their stories. I see them at every signing, I see them at shows, and it's cool to like see them grow up. I call myself like stepmama to them. I raised you.
There was one you shared. I think someone created like a book for you.
Yes, I have it with me. Her name's Jessica. She like put together this like a bunch of fan messages through Twitter, and like people who like couldn't make it to the signing all over the world like wrote like really like encouraging like messages to me, and it's like this beautiful like scrapbook, and it's giant, and it's such hard work went into it.
She made. Wow.
Yeah, and I always keep all the letters, and I read all the letters because like, and my first signing was Lita, and I wrote her a letter, and I'm sure it was like the most embarrassing thing in the world, but like if she had been mean or like dismissive or it just anything, if she was not anything but like warm and wonderful, who knows what weird direction I would have went in life.
Right?
Maybe I would have hated wrestling and never done it. So like, to me, oh my God, no, I'll cry. Oh my goodness.
Oh.
Like, so that little girl's starving. She is like probably living in a motel, you know what I mean? And like, she doesn't know that, but she's so kind to me. And she held the letter and she's like, I will read this. And then she gave me her marker, and I kept that marker for years and years and years. I probably lost it in a move because
Have you talked to her?
I
about
showed her the
this?
video.
And what did she say?
She's like, I've seen that. Like somebody sent it to her on Twitter. This is back in the day. Yeah, it was. She didn't know what the kid was going through, you know, and so
well, like you said before, you never know what someone else is going through. You just don't.
And so that was like a pivotal moment. God, every like sliding doors. Who knows what would have happened if that didn't go that way, and I didn't feel like seen. And so now when I do like these signings, it's like, you've given me your whole day. You've traveled here. You're waiting in line for 7 hours. Like, and I only get these like 2 minutes with you. They're gonna be the best fucking 2 minutes in the world. You know, like we're gonna become best friends. I'm gonna know your middle name
In those 2 minutes.
Yes. And so they're so meaningful to me, and I feel like we have
Because
a
you
good time.
remember what it's like to be in line.
Yes, definitely. It means a lot. It could really change things. So I hope they know that they're seen. I see them. I'm one of them. And I've kind of always felt that way. I'm just like a fan that snuck onto television.
Snuck on. Somehow that is not how I would describe your journey. Oh my God, your fighter mentality is, I mean, it has brought you to where you are.
Thank you.
I mean, and for you to be willing to be so raw and so vulnerable and so real. I mean, truly, I think the reason you have the fan base that you have is because of who you are.
Thank you.
And who you're willing to, what you're willing to share. I mean, it's so easy to hide.
Right.
It's so easy to be someone else, you know, and especially when you're on television, to play a persona, you know, and to not share those things. And that's fine for the people that don't want to share. But if you have something that so many people are going through and you can give them that hope. I mean, that's one of the things that I think is so special about our business. And I've heard a couple of people articulate it this way, but that it is hope.
Yeah.
You know, and it's interesting because going back to the women's evolution, we were in Abu Dhabi for 6 years and our women were not allowed to perform.
Whoa.
It took 6 years. And then, like roughly, give or take. And then it was one match where our women were allowed, and they had to change, you know, what they wore. It had to cover their heads were the only thing that was exposed. And during the match, a chant broke out, "This is hope."
Whoa.
Which is not a typical WWE chant, as you know. And the people in the audience will never be the same after being a part of something like that.